Okay, here we are back for video number 11. At the end of the last video, Australia had just been conquered. It looks like they've gone government in exile, as they're wont to do since they're part of an alliance. And New Zealand is all but conquered. New Guinea's, or maybe this is just called Australia. Yeah, this is called Australia in the game. Looks like the Japanese are doing well in Australia. And of course, if you recall, the Soviet Union surrendered. And the UK is pushing back up into Germany occupied / owned Greece, and Italy has conquered the Northern Africa and Iraq. Now my concern at this point is that Germany is going to try to do a sea lion or a CeeLo on the UK. I don't want that. And I do not want them to use Gibraltar, lose Gibraltar. It would be good, but it would be good from a gameplay. I'm just going to turn the music down here. It would be good from my gameplay point, but not so good from the USA standpoint. So what I'm going to do, I remember wanting to put, all right, there they are. They won't be out until April or June, actually. It's a long time off. I need to let this run one day to update all of the production, so forth and so on. There we go. Now I want to go back. I just noticed I'm at 102 on leadership, so I want to run that leadership. Now Japan, I'm not yet in a position where I want to start taking islands back. Japan is kind of secondary theater at the moment, because remember I said I was going to play with European theater of operations as the primary concern. So what I want to do is start shuttling my mechanized corps after I add leaders to them over to England. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is add leaders to them. And I'm going to make them a second army with a second army group. I'm going to hold off in creating a headquarters right now, because I can do that once they're over where they need to be. Let's make the second army group Bradley. The second army will be commanded by none other than Patton himself. The first mechanized corps, I always put level 3 commanders because I save the 4 and above for headquarters units. So I put level 3 in the corps headquarters locations. Actually, I'm going to put Collins here. Alright, so we've got the first mechanized and the second mechanized. I need the third and the fourth to complete this, but I can go ahead and move these guys to England. Then I'll put the lowest level offensive doctrine I can in the brigades underneath the corps headquarters. They level up faster, and it makes them useful later on in the game. Actually, what I may do is go ahead and invade North Africa. Declare on... See, there's no... Generally, I don't like declaring on Vichy France, because Germany then takes over this area and it draws forces back from the Eastern Front. But now that Russia has already been tamed, for the time being at least, I don't have to worry about that. Germany has plenty of forces to spare. And in fact, they're probably all barreling down to intercept the British right now in Greece. So what I want to do, first I'll see how large these corps. All right, we need 245 as a minimum to move them. So let's get our transport fleets. Each one of the regular transports is 40. It's 80, 160, 200, 240. So I don't like to make anything over 6, but sometimes you have to when you're dealing with just regular transports. I won't make this. Remember, I like to put blockade runners, and I will station him in Boston. I will make him the 9th transport well, he'll be the second transport fleet, but the 9th number 9 on my buttons. Okay. Get him back. I'm going to move this. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and move directly to. I've got some plans here. I'm going to move these. I want to get these cores bloodied. So I'm going to move it and the Army headquarters all, believe it or not, to Scapa Flow. And I'm going to need, I've got the 1st carrier fleet and the 1st surface action group in Hawaii. I'm going to need another carrier fleet. And I'm going to use the original carriers I started with because I don't need them to go very far. And I don't need them, the carriers themselves, to engage in combat, which is always a bad idea. But what I do need is their CAGs. I will use the highest level, like cruisers, because they have the better air, the AA stats. And I'm going to give them, well, normally I'd want to give them Halsey, not Halsey, but actually, where is that other? Huh. Where are my navies at? Fletcher, Glover, Kincaid, King, Halsey, English Withers, Nimitz. There's Nimitz. Oh, I had him escort those battleships to Hawaii. I do not want him. I want to up. We're going to give old King here those 2 battleships to replace the 2 older battleships he has. So we'll move those into and take out the Colorado and the West Virginia. I will still leave them over here because they are the greatest range battleships I have outside of the level 5s right now. And not Fletcher, but Nimitz, the 2nd CV commander. And he will become number 3 on my keyboard. And he's going to go to, after I give him some leaders, some air wing commanders, he's going to go to Scapa Flow also. Now, you can see already that I won't have enough air wing commanders that are strictly fleet destroyers. And that's fine because fleet destroyers is my first choice, but spotters are my second. And again, I don't know. I don't get into the details, the very nitty-gritty details, but it seems to me that spotters are very, very good there in this time frame because that's, they relied on those carrier-based planes to do a lot of spotting for the fleets. So this will work just fine. And you see England doesn't have enough supply built up in Scapa Flow because they had nobody stationed there, but it will slowly build up over time as my units get there. Now let's fill these guys out with level 1 commanders. Now I could put Boatner, but I try to save all the logistics wizards for the Pacific Theater. And as this game progresses, you'll see why. I'm gonna go ahead and now this right here. Generally, I'm gonna go ahead and put Hodges as the 1st Armored Corps commander. He's the best commander after Patton for armored. And again, I'll put the lowest level. Now, when it comes to armor, though, instead of putting level 1, I put level 2, just because I have many more of them, and they're much more. I didn't want to do that. They're much more important in my overall scheme of things here. In my head, they're more important. We'll put it that way. All right. Now I had something come out of production. More mechanized. So this will be the 3rd mechanized. Mechanized armored car. Doesn't look right though. Oh, I don't think I know what it was. I didn't yet have the ability to build the self-propelled artillery. Alright, so this is the 3rd Mechanized Corps. They will be part of the 2nd Army. And I will add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and then this will be the 4th Mechanized. And I need to add the self-propelled artillery brigades to each one of these. 4th Mech and 2nd Army. Now the 5th Corps that I attach will be that 1st Armored Corps. Alright, so that's one complete army, with the exception, of course, the rest of the corps here, the rest of the brigades I'm waiting on, which should be coming out shortly. Now that I can build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that will complete the 4th. And I need 2, 1. Actually, I need them for all of them, don't I? Boy, I screwed the pooch on that one. I need all of them. Okay. Brigade attachments. Self-propelled artillery. That's 6, 12, okay. That's a lot of IC. And they're going to go just right here. I don't need them all to come out at once. My plan in the next 15 minutes, which is all I have left on this video, is to try to invade Norway. Seize Norway from the Germans. If I can get through these convoys. There we go. Alright. Seize Norway from the Germans. Then after I've got Norway, I want to attack into, I'll move down here to Gibraltar and then attack into North Africa. Because England is doing well down here, but I don't know if the Germans are going to be able to push through former Albania and through Bulgaria here to get down here to Greece and stop them proper. Either way, I think England is going to hit. The UK is going to hit a roadblock up in here somewhere, just because of the terrain and the fact that Germany's got all of its forces that it can lead. So maybe if I can land over here, it will draw some forces. They like to go across this strait here and go up through Sweden and come over into Norway. So if I can draw some forces away, even though Germany has a lot of forces to use, I think that will help the game overall. Certainly help the Brits, I believe. Whereas landing in Africa or even in Italy wouldn't do any good right now as far as the Germans are concerned. I've got to try to tie up some German troops. I don't know if I'll have enough time to get supply and fuel running the Scapa flow before I need to stop this video. I'd like to think so, but they're already attacking my convoys out here. What I would like to do also is I'm going to move some interceptors. I'll move 4 wings of interceptors, give them a commander, superior air tactician. And since I'm going to be going against the Germans, I'm going to give them the highest level I have right now, which is LeMay. I'll move them over to Scapa Flow for now. Scapa Flow is a large port. It will be able to handle all this. And I paused because you can see I've got units that are ready to come out. And this, of course, as you can see, is more mechanized units. So they're going to go into the 4th mech. Now that completes that army except for the self-propelled artillery units. Now I'm going to also move. Now you remember me saying in the last video I like having a large amount. I think I specifically said 500 convoys, and you can see why. I'm really not going to do anything to try and answer them sinking my convoys. But what I am going to do is create another battleship fleet. I'll try and take, I'm going to take the level 2 battleships, Pennsylvania and Oklahoma. I will take a level 2 heavy cruiser. Again, I don't expect a huge amount of resistance against the Germans. And I will take these level 3 light cruisers and 1 level 5 destroyer. I will then, in fact, give them spruance. I will make this number 4 on my hotkey list, and this will be the second surface fleet. I'm also going to send them over to Scapa Flow. So I have 1 carrier fleet and 1 surface action group working out of Scapa Flow when I invade Norway. And I'm going to use these mechanized units, which are not the most suitable for the job. But again, my goal here is to get them blooded. I want to get them some experience in combat. Come on, Canada. Take out those subs. All right, I've got my. I may go ahead and invade Midway. I don't want to, but I might. We'll see. See what happens over here. 11 minutes left in this video. All right, now we've got some assault ships coming out. I ordered 10 right off the bat. As soon as these 10 complete, I will order 10 more. And I'll switch over my transport fleet at Scapa Flow to assault ships, which will make it smaller, make it faster, and make it the assault ship capacity is much larger than a transport ship. So the fleet sizes will be smaller. That might be 10 right there. Let's see if that's 10. Well, that's all 10 of them. And I said I needed 245 at least. And each one of these is 60 instead of 40, is it? Or is it 80 now? I forget. 80. All right. 60. That's right. Transport capacity is 60. 60 and 60 is 120. 20 and 120 is 240, and 60 is 300. I'm going to move him over here to Boston. Grab the 9th fleet that's already over there and move it back here to Boston also. And then when it arrives, I will swap out the transports for the assault ships. I really dislike doing this in 30-minute segments. But I live in a small rural town in New Mexico, and it takes me anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to upload a 30-minute video. So imagine if I did this any longer. My internet connection is terrible, is what I'm trying to say here. Come on. Come on, Glover. Speed it up. Speed it up. Now you can see Glover, his name is listed in red. That's because he can only command six naval units. And in this particular fleet, there are 8. That should be alleviated once I combined or get rid of the transports and replace them with assault ships. You can also see the speed of the transports. If I can get my mouse where I want it to be. maybe I can't. Maybe I cannot. Max speed 18. And the transports, max speed 15. So that's 3 miles per hour faster. That will help. All right, let's combine these fleets and then separate out the transports. All right, so now we've just got the assault ships, and that makes that fleet just size 6 now. And he's no longer overstacked or overburdened, depending on how you want to look at it. He can control 6 naval vessels, and he now has 6 in his fleet. And that same size fleet, even though it has smaller, it has a much larger capacity, even though it's less number of vessels in the fleet. So we'll take him over. And I'm going to attempt this. I want to attempt to take Norway with only 2 mechanized corps. I'm going to land one. I'm going to land one in Bergen, and then once I have their attention, I'll try and sneak the other one over here to Oslo with the carrier. And of course, each landing will be supported by the carrier and the surface. And they're filling up on supplies. So Britain is doing the right thing and sending supplies up where I'm based at. Way to go, England. And we're getting our. Now these won't come out till September, so I won't get the. They probably will not be bloodied in the fight for Norway. Japan is still pressing along. And I really, really, really wish these sliders, if I don't wish for anything else in Hearts of Iron 4, I wish that the sliders would stay where you stick them. Come on, Glover. Fire those boilers. Get the fleet moving faster. See, Scapa Flow can handle 115 chips every day, so it definitely can handle what I've just plopped down in here. But if you're wondering, you can always click on the resources map. The supply map mode, and hover over. You can hover over the province, and it'll tell you this port can ship in 115.8 units supply and fuel every day. So that's 115.8 of supply and 115.8 of fuel. It's not combined. It also tells you that every day. Let run just one more day since I just put new troops there, just to be sure. Every day now, with the amount of troops and ships I have stationed here, it requires 132.33 in supply and 193.67 in fuel. Now, you can see both of those numbers are more than what this port can supply, right? It can only supply 115, and I require 132 supply and 93 fuel. So it behooves me to move my forces out of here as soon as I can, because they'll start fading. You can see right here, 4.95 supplies every day, and he got 100% for the last day. Basically, that's what I need. So I'm going to go ahead and take the first mechanized corps, load them up, and I'm going to attack Bergen. I'm going to cover with the CV fleet and the battleship fleet. Now, there's a lot of stuff posted about in the forums about not putting your CVs in the same sea zone as your other forces, but I do it anyway. Also, I can tell you it's a bad idea to attack with a headquarters unless it's undefended. All right, that was easy enough. It was undefended. Let's send him back. Now, what's going to happen, I want to make sure that I've got my create convoy. See, I did not have that. It's not on automatic. Remember, at the very beginning of the video, I turned it off. So now what I need to do is manually create a convoy from Washington, D.C. Actually, I'm going to go from Boston to Bergen. Otherwise, my troops will not get supply. And then once I've created that route, I've got to add convoy ships to it. If you hold control, it's not irrelevant, right? It's not relevant right now because I only need 4. But if you hold control and left-click this plus sign, as it tells you, it will add 10. In this case, I only need 4. And I'm also going to add 4 escorts to that. All right. Now that these guys are here, I'm going to go ahead and start them advancing. Actually, I want them all to advance to right there. I'm going to go ahead and move over the interceptor wings. I'm also going to go ahead and move over the army group and the army. And you'll see why in just a minute. So let me transfer them over. And while I'm here, I'm going to increase the airfield size and the port size. Because remember, there's nothing, the Germans are not fighting on the Eastern Front. This is not going to be a wham bam thank you ma'am on my part. I'm going to have to slog to win back Europe. And I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I do know I will need a lot of aircraft. So I'm also going to go ahead and fill it up with radar and anti-aircraft. And while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and fill up the infrastructure. And as soon as Glover delivers the... Okay, now we've got the army group. Now that I'm here, I'm going to make a new headquarters. But I'm not going to call it Washington, D.C. headquarters. Call it Norway headquarters. Okay, Norwat. All right, Norway headquarters. And I will assign... For now, I'm going to assign it Eisenhower. Okay, so we've got a new headquarters. We've got a new port where all of our supply is going through. I'm no longer using supply from England for this invasion. Granted, my ships are still based here, but since I took a full core, mechanized core at that, out of here, I will have sufficient supply coming from England to supply this last core in the ships. So while they're doing their thing, you notice my carriers stand here to help cover. I'm also going to change the carrier over to Norway headquarters and all of the fleets that are here over to Norway headquarters, including the transport fleet and the fighter wing. Anytime the fleets or the fighter wing or the ground units do any combat, Eisenhower will gain experience. That's what we want. Now I'm down to 2 seconds left on this video, so you're going to have to come back for the next video to see if I can successfully take Norway with all its mountains and rugged terrain with only mechanized units. Thank you for watching. Ciao.